Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start with primer today. I don't always wear primer, but I've been trying this new primer by Smashbox, the vitamin primer. I'm actually gonna go buy the full size today. Actually, the travel size, because it's more economic and I don't go through primer that much. So I just have a mirror down here. I really like that primer because it has a nice tackiness to it, but it's not overbearing. I don't know if you've tried the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It's so sticky and grippy. This one I feel like actually keeps my natural oils glowing. I feel like it gives me a really nice finish. My go-to kind of base combo has kind of either been this on really light days, this on more full coverage days. This, if you have not tried it, is incredible. Love this a lot. But on days where I kind of don't know how much coverage I want, I like to mix these together. I feel like it also gives me a really nice color. So I just mix it on the back of my hand and then apply it to my face. Oops, that was... And then I just like to dot it on the skin, placing more of the coverage towards the center of my face because that's where I have more redness, more that I'd like to cover. And then I just use my beauty blender and blend it out. I used to really want full coverage makeup. I don't know, I just never found a foundation that had full coverage that I really liked. And since I'm so fair, I've always had a hard time finding foundations that even match my skin tone or give me a nice color. This is a little deep for me today, but I'll just bring it down my neck. And then the trends have kind of changed now where it's not really in to wear full coverage makeup as much. You know, obviously do what you want, but I actually really like this trend of more natural, subtle, dewy makeup. And I actually really like my skin. You know, for the most part, I have nice skin. I do have some acne scarring that I don't love that I do try to cover with concealer, but other than that, you know, I feel like I have pretty nice skin. It's definitely genetic. I get it from my mom. Next is kind of a new favorite. I'm still testing this one out, but I feel like it works. It's the Bobbi Brown color correcting pot. I have it in the shade Porcelain Bisque. I think it's the lightest shade that they have. And I actually just use my finger to help warm it up because it's a very, very thick consistency. And then I just put it here in the inner corner and then on the outer corner. And you can see that it definitely helps with the pigmentation, like the deepness around my eyes. The trouble that I have with it, and I'm still trying to figure out, is like, I feel like it covers really well, but then as soon as I put concealer on, it feels like nothing is different. So it's gotta be user error. I'm just not sure what I'm doing wrong. So the first kind of big life update, I guess, would be that I have left Macy's. I worked there July 2019 until this month, March 2021. And you know, for the most part, I enjoyed it. I was with Clarins for a long time. It's such a great brand. And then I was with Elizabeth Arden for a month. And then I got moved to Dior. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. These are kind of the two ways people are doing it, and I can't tell which one I like better, so I'm trying it out. I left Macy's because it just became apparent to me that my interests were not at the forefront to my employers. Some things happened to me that were not my fault and they could have handled them better. So I felt it was time to go. This concealer that I'm using is the Neutrogena Creamy Concealer. Super beautiful. I think it's kind of a dupe for the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, but I honestly like it better, and it's only $12, so win-win. Please don't come for me on my brows. I'm literally leaving in 45 minutes to go get them done. But I have taken another job, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I just kind of want to share the story time of how I got there. I'm using the NYX Precise Brow Pencil, by the way. It's my favorite drugstore. Honestly, probably my favorite brow pencil, period, including high-end. The class that I'm currently in, if you guys don't know, I'm actually in a master's program right now at Liberty University. I do it online, and I'm studying clinical mental health counseling. Most of the people who are close to me in my life will know that that's something I've had a passion for a very, very long time. I did an undergraduate thesis. I majored in psychology in undergrad at both of the schools I went to. It's something I've known that I wanted to do for a very long time. So I'm here now studying my master's, and it's tough. It's really tough. Maybe that's another life, maybe that's the first life update I should share, is that I'm in a master's program. And by the way, I'm leaving the concealer on because I follow Jackie Aina. She's a pretty big YouTuber, and she leaves her concealer on to kind of dry a little bit before she does anything with it. So I kind of do one brow and then blend it out. So I'll be back for the rest of the story time. Okay, the concealer's all blended out. I feel like it gives me such a nice finish and base. Let me see if I can turn the lighting down so you can see. So dewy, so pretty. A lot of that will go away. I do set pretty heavily with powder. So let's do that now. What was I saying? Oh, I'm in a master's program. The tough thing about Liberty's master's programs online is that the classes are actually 8-week subsemesters. So it's a lot of material to get through, a lot of coursework. So I'm actually only doing it part-time right now because I found that it was just too stressful for me to try to do a couple classes at a time. And you know, I think if I didn't care as much about my career or doing what I absolutely love, I set under my eyes with the translucent powder by Laura Mercier, absolute favorite. And then I set my face with the Jaclyn Hill Do Me Luminous powder. I think that's right. Since I have quite dry skin, I like to keep my base looking pretty luminous, but I like to set it because I don't like that kind of sticky feeling. Where was I going? Oh, about being part-time student. I felt like it wasn't going to get me through the program a whole lot faster to be full-time versus being part-time, because you know, full-time in a master's program is 9 credit hours versus full-time as a undergrad is 12 credit hours. So I'm part-time, but I'm still doing 6 credit hours a semester. It's not slowing me down a whole lot to be part-time, but I'm really excited. I'm supposed to start practicum and internship in the fall, and I'll be graduating next year. This is something that I have recently found. It's the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme. I'm trying to get back into acting, and I was talking with my dentist about ways we can improve my smile, and he was like, oh, you could get lip filler because your top lip is kind of small. And he was like, it's $650. And I was like, who? So this was $16, and I feel like it's already made a big difference in the size of my top lip. But you will see, it is intense. It is very intense. My lips get so red. It's supposed to give you like immediate and permanent results. I'm still testing it out, but I do feel like it has made my upper lip bigger. So I'm still working part-time, and I left Macy's, but oh, I said all of that to say that the class that I was in at the beginning of this semester in the spring was, oof, oh man, I'm already feeling that on my lips. I don't think I've ever talked while having this on, so this should be interesting. The class was on career counseling, so not my favorite topic per se. I know that that'll be something that comes up with my clients, and I understand that it's required for my course, all good. But actually one of the assignments we had to do helped me learn something about myself that actually got me into the job that I have now. I am an assistant teacher at a Montessori school, still here in Chicago, and I work with little kiddos. I learned about myself that I would probably really enjoy being in education. And, you know, when I shared that with my mom and my brother and my best friends, they were like, yeah, of course. So I actually just started that this week, the last week of March. And so far so good. You know, working in education is tough, being with kids is tough, learning a whole new model. Like I was homeschooled and then I was in public school, and Montessori, the education is just very different, which is not a bad thing. I actually really like the model. I feel like it definitely reflects more of what I understand about how children develop compared to public education, so I have been enjoying getting to support that. For bronzer, I have this palette here by Cover FX. It is so beautiful. You get two different formulas in this compact. You get a matte bronzer and a glowy bronzer. I use this one more on an everyday basis, but on more full coverage days, I like to use this as a contour shade. So pretty. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most in my new job is that I have a consistent schedule. I'm not in retail anymore, so I don't have to work the weekends, which is wonderful. I think this is the first job I've ever had where I didn't have to work the weekends. Can you see how red my lips are? I should have done a close-up before and after. Crazy. So I'm gonna try to get back into filming more YouTube stuff, more content. I just created a new Instagram that's a little bit more like influencer-y, because I don't want to spam my friends and family with content that they think is annoying or whatever. I wanted to give them a choice instead of just throwing it on my main Instagram. That's what I did. And then you always want to get your nose. I got this, one of the new Jaclyn Hill compact palettes of bronzer and blush. The only reason I didn't use the bronzer today is because I'm still testing it out, and I have been in love with the Cover FX bronzer for a lot longer. But this blush I do actually really like, especially for the spring and summer. I feel like it's such a pretty pink. And I don't think I would have ever intentionally picked up a pink blush, but it was one of the last palettes they had in stock. I think it was the last palette light enough for me, other than like a lavender, and I know I just won't wear lavender because I'm more neutral to warm in my undertones. I feel like a lavender would just not be the most flattering on me, and I tend to wear warm tones like 90% of the time. That's wrong. 99% of the time I'm wearing warm tone makeup. My probably all-time favorite highlighter is the Becca highlighter in Opal. You would never know because it doesn't even look, this is not Opal. Opal is deeper. This is Moonstone. You probably never know because I barely made a dent in it and I've had it for years. But it just gives me such a pretty highlight for my skin tone. Oh. Gorgeous. Wow, my lips are insanely big right now. It actually hurts, like it feels super tight to smile when they're this big. Woof. Pretty happy with my brows today. I don't know, I'm kind of in a rut when it comes to brows lately. It's always tough when it's right before it's time to get your brows done. That's a thing I've learned this year, is get yourself a brow stylist. Get yourself a brow stylist. Working at Macy's, I had access to the benefit team, and they do such a good job. I like to take my blush brush and blend back over my highlighter just to make sure it's not looking crazy. And then after I'm done with all the powders on my face and everything, I set my brows with the e.l.f. Wow Brow. I don't know what shade this is. Probably the lightest one. Oh, taupe. I'm not quite on board with the soap brows, but I do like to brush my brows up and then I'll kind of shape them with a clean spoolie. I feel like that kind of gives me half the effect without being fully committed to them standing all the way up to my hairline. Because my brows do get quite long, which is, you know, a blessing. I have a lot of hair in my brows. For mascara, this is a new favorite actually. It's the CoverGirl Lash Blast Clean. My eyes are so sensitive. I was really intrigued by this clean formula and I feel like it gives me a really good effect. So I'm just gonna curl my lashes real fast. All right, I'm gonna get super up close and personal because I want you guys to see. Okay, so these are the before. Do you see that? It gives me such beautiful length and definition. And then when I go in with a second layer, it really thickens it up. Okay, I'll be back when it's done. Okay, I went ahead and finished my lashes off camera, took my hair down out of the turban. I blasted it with a diffuser for like 5 minutes, but I'm kind of growing weary of doing the curly girl method. I don't know if it's just because my hair is at a weird length right now or I need to mix up my products or something. I don't know. I'm just very over it, if I'm honest. I don't typically do eyeshadow on more chill days, more natural everyday stuff. I didn't set my eyelids very well apparently because I'm creasing and that never happens. So I would say this is probably the lasting effect my lips are gonna have after using that plumper. I got this little sample of an Anastasia lip gloss in a little gift before I left. It's in the shade Toffee and I am telling you, I've never been a lip gloss person, but I love this lip gloss. Like, I'm willing to put up with hair downwind in my face even though I have those lip gloss on because I love it and you'll see why here in a second. Like, hello, isn't this the most beautiful nude lip gloss you have ever seen? It is so flattering and it's so comfortable. I would say it has a pretty thick formula. I did just put it on top of the lip plumper that was left over because it also gives you a really beautiful like balmy after effect, which is really hydrating. So back to finishing up the health updates. I think probably the biggest one that I'm struggling with the most right now is I have kind of finally gotten a diagnosis for the things I've been dealing with for a very long time. I have had some pretty negative health symptoms for well over a decade now. I didn't know that they were all connected until recently. Since I was a very early teenager, like right at the beginning of my teens, I remember feeling like this. We've done a bajillion tests. I even had a doctor tell me at one point that I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disease, but in fact, I do not. Yet? Question mark? I have the antibodies, but my thyroid is fine. It's not under attack yet. Asterisk, because apparently it might become under attack if I were to ever become pregnant, because apparently pregnancy is the biggest stress on your thyroid. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. All of that to say, we've kind of come to the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, and honestly, it's really disappointing and frustrating. I have basically been told that there's nothing that doctors can do to fix it. We can just, you know, swap out some medications that are better suited for treating the symptoms, but there's no cure. There's no promise that these medications will minimize the symptoms I experience, which is really disheartening and frustrating. I definitely have to rely on my faith. My faith has grown so much in this season anyways, but just relying on verses like Romans 8:28 that the Lord works all things together for my good. It was really important for me to wrestle with and to rest in because, you know, part of me wants to say, how can this be for my good? But the other part of me has seen how much I've grown to rely on him. Whereas, you know, in my pride and in my flesh, I definitely see the tendency to like want to be my own God and want to do everything on my own. And I genuinely think if I didn't have this illness, I would not rely on the Lord the way that I do now. And the only way I can explain it is that's the way that he wants it, is me relying on him. And even though it makes my life a little bit uncomfortable, I want to learn to be okay with that. Some other more exciting stuff, like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to get back into acting, so I've actually signed up to get Invisalign. I don't have it yet. I'm still waiting. That was a weird face. but I'm really looking forward to it. If you guys want to see more videos like this, let me know. I don't know how to end stuff like this. I recently picked up the Sky High mascara by Maybelline. I haven't given it a shot yet because I've been trying the CoverGirl one. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm very excited. Since I'm not working in retail anymore, I do not have that discount, so I will not be buying high-end unless I have to. I think genuinely that's the only thing I'm sad about leaving. Other than leaving my coworkers and my friends, I'm sad about not having a discount at a store anymore. But hey, you know, life changes. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll get more shots of this look and post them on my Instagram. You'll probably see the pictures before you see this video, just gonna be honest. I'm still figuring out this new routine for work and school and life. Yeah, I hope you liked it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future. Give the video a like and maybe subscribe. Bye!